Located a few miles away from Jinja city is the first railway museum in Uganda. Launched in March 2022, the museum is located at the country's oldest railway station on the Jinja-Uganda highway. On my visit to this facility, I'm ushered in by the museum's manager, Prosi Nanyondo. She gives me a guided tour of the facility, which is not only a tourist attraction, but an education facility and research center. Our start-off point is a section on the right where the history of the railway is preserved on panels and reflection of how people moved before the railway.
As you can see, these are people carrying their goods in caravans. Those who lived along lakes and rivers, for them they traveled on canoes, as you can see here.
This was Kampala Road in the early 1900s and the road leading to the Lubiri in 1875. Here, I'm also shown photos of the first steam trains which used coal and how Uganda's first railway was constructed.
In the 1902, the last section of Uganda Railway was constructed in Kisumu.
It is here that I'm made to understand that the first railway was single line, which gave rise to the name Caleri.
It was a mono line which would run from Luzira to Bombo, so it looked like this. So, however, this wasn't sufficient. Caleri is a historical name which was given to that area as the rail line was being extended from Luzira to Bombo. So as it was extended, since it was a small rail line, it was called Caleri.
Here are also artifacts used during the railway operations in the early days.
So the Indians brought these railway sleepers as they were going to construct Uganda Railway. This is a stretcher. This stretcher was used when the train got an accident and there were injured people. So,
in one other corner are spotlights which were used by the trains during the night movements.
For example, this one was put on the head of the train. Then we have this one which emits the green and yellow light. It used to act as a traffic light. Then the other one was put on at every platform, at every station. These spotlights use the paraffin or kerosene.
In the next room are more exhibitions and history of the construction of the railway across the country.
And here we are seeing the train crossing the Nile for the first time.
Racism was high those days, and there were three sections of people, and travel was in those three categories, namely the Europeans, Asians, and Africans.
Also, when it came to the booking offices, there were two booking offices. This belonged to the whites and the Asian community, and this belonged to the Africans. So there was even a barrier.
This museum has a particular section for young people to support their learning and appreciation of Uganda's history. In here, one gets to appreciate how the railway stations were operated and some of the equipment used.
These are cash bags. So these cash bags, this is where money which was put at every station was put in these cash bags and taken to headquarters, that's Kampala, for accounting. This is a printing machine which was used to print the tickets. So this is a demonstration to show someone in a ticketing office. So this is the ticketing officer. So this is called a ticket tube. It has three sections. This section belongs to first class, this belongs to third class, and this belongs to second class.
So, this is a pushing trolley that was used by the Africans to push cargo and luggage of the Asians and the Europeans who were using the railway transport those days.
The children who visit have something to learn too, with the display of a miniature train moving. Outside this structure is another place which was once used as a waiting room for Africans and has now been turned into a cafeteria.
One of the biggest things you're going to find in this place is the Rolex. We have our famous Rolex, which is called the wagon Rolex. You would wonder why wagon. So here the language is all railway. It's a railway language. So we have the wagons, we have the locomotives, we have the sleepers, because we are trying to train people or teach them the whole journey. So
a visit to this museum cannot be concluded without visiting one last spot, the locomotive coach.
So it was bought by Idi Amin in the early 1970s. So up to now it is still existing.
In this coach, tourists have opportunity to watch documentaries about the history of the railway.
Now, this is one of the coaches that has been kept here at the Uganda Railway Museum to just paint a picture of what used to happen during the time of railway construction. It was used by the supervisors to monitor the people that were doing the railway construction, and now here at the museum it's been turned into a room where people watch a documentary about that whole process and also are given more details and history of the railway line in Uganda. Benjamin Jumbe, NTV.